As I stepped into the building, the cameras flashed and I posed for each shot. Being a model was always a dream of mine, and being in a room filled with famous models, agents, and billionaires was a dream come true. You see, I'm not a model, but who says a girl can't fake it till she makes it? If you want to hear more of my crazy story, don't look away, keep watching. Mingling with the crowd was a piece of cake because I knew every person in the room, from tabloids anyway. With my drink in hand, I stepped forward, tripped on my dress, and my drink fell on the famous model, Monique Chamfleur. I'm so sorry.
Get away from me, you imbecile!
Monique pushed me away. I stumbled backwards and fell into the buffet table. Soon, there were rapid flashes with simultaneous clicks from cameras. Dripping with food and tears in my eyes, I gathered myself and ran out of the grand ballroom. The sound of my heels clicked against the tiled floors of the quiet hallway. As I stretched my hand to open the door, my heel broke and I fell and twisted my ankle. As I sat there and nursed my ankle, I mumbled, "Could this night get any worse?" Unfortunately, the universe answered because as I attempted to get up, someone opened the door which hit me squarely in my head.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
My head throbbed.
Let me help you up.
He helped me to my feet and I winced in pain.
What's wrong?
I think I twisted my ankle.
Do you live near? I can give you a lift home.
I nodded. I live over at St. Lucian's Road with my grandmother. Without a word, the guy scooped me up and I hid my face in his neck. He helped me into the car before he got in and turned on the engine.
I'm Ernesto. I'm a photographer. I work for quite a few famous models. You look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before?
My name is Ariana. I'm a model. After 10 minutes, we pulled up to the front of Grandma's dingy, tiny apartment. Before he said anything, I said, "I've wanted to purchase a house for Grandma, but she refuses to accept." He helped me to the door and pulled out a card from his pants pocket.
Give me a call. I hope we can do business soon.
Thank you for everything. I blushed.
No problem.
About 3 weeks after my unfortunate incident, I headed to the supermarket. I froze in the deli lane at the supermarket after I noticed Ernesto. I was about to turn away when he waved at me and walked over.
Hey, how have you been?
I'm great.
Nice. When I didn't get any calls from you, I thought you returned home.
My face reddened. No, still by Grandma's for a bit. I've just been busy rescheduling my photo shoots. Just then, I saw Miss Joanne, also known as Nosy Josie, and we made eye contact. She walked briskly towards me and I turned in the other direction. There was no way I was going to let Nosy Josie blow my cover. Nosy Josie and I played the game of cat and mouse in the supermarket. I hid behind a tower of cereal and watched as Nosy Josie searched the aisles for me.
Hi again.
Ernesto whispered behind me. I jumped out of my skin and toppled the cereal in front of me. Nosy Josie turned in my direction and called out,
Jasmine!
Panicked, I dropped my shopping basket, grabbed Ernesto's hand, and ran out of the supermarket. We ran until we came to the park about a block away. We sank into one of the benches and panted. I looked over at Ernesto. Sorry. Ernesto laughed.
It's a great way to get exercise. Don't worry about it. But who is that woman and why did she call you Jasmine?
She's just a crazed fan. She thinks I look just like her daughter, Jasmine. I lied.
Well, that's unfortunate. Now I have two problems.
Which are?
Well, my car is still in the supermarket parking lot.
And?
Well,
he smiled.
Now I have to go back to the supermarket tomorrow.
Ernesto and I laughed.
I'll go back and get the car so I can take you home.
We pulled into my driveway about 20 minutes later and he walked me to the door. He looked a bit uncomfortable. What's wrong?
I was just wondering if it was possible to get your number.
Sure. Why not? Ernesto handed me his phone and I quickly typed it in and returned his phone. Thanks for the lift.
And thanks for the workout.
The next day, I received a call from Ernesto.
Hey, I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing a photo shoot?
Sure, why not? Tell me the time and place and I'll be there. Ernesto told me the time and place and then we hung up. I was on cloud 9. Finally, my very first professional photo shoot. The only problem was that I didn't have anything fabulous to wear. With a few hours to spare, I headed to the bank, took out all of my savings, and went to the mall to pick up a few things. While at the mall, I purchased this amazing black sparkle dress. I thought I'd save that one for a special occasion. At 5 p.m., I arrived at Ernesto's photo studio and we began. I must say, the camera loved me. Ernesto was also very professional and adjusted the lighting and added props where needed. I couldn't wait to see how the pictures developed.
I have an event to attend tomorrow night, and I'd like you to be my +1.
I looked at him and he added quickly,
Not like a date or anything, more like a networking event.
"Sure, I'd love to go with you."
Great, I'll pick you up at 7 p.m. tomorrow.
The next night, I heard a knock on the door at 7 p.m. sharp. I opened the door and Ernesto's eyes widened before he cleared his throat and greeted me with a smile.
Ariana, you look amazing.
I blushed. "Thank you. You don't clean up too badly yourself."
Thank you. Are you ready to leave?
I nodded. As we walked to the car, I knew that this event was going to change my life forever. At the event, we were having such a great time together. You'd think we were on an actual date. We didn't notice the models, agents, and billionaires in the room. To us, we were the only two people that mattered. During the night, Ernesto's phone buzzed loudly.
I'm sorry.
Ernesto said as he pulled his phone from his jacket and looked at the number.
I have to take this? Please excuse me.
I looked over at Ernesto and he took his call and swayed to the music.
Good evening, beautiful lady.
My jaw dropped. It was Alejandro Sucks, the sexiest male model alive. He extended his hand and said in a smooth, charismatic voice,
Hi, I'm...
"Alejandro Sucks," I ended his sentence.
Ah, so you've heard of Alejandro.
His dazzling smile melted my heart. "Yes, I have. I'm Ariana." He kissed my hand before letting it go. My hand still felt warm from his touch.
I haven't seen you around. Are you new to the business?
I've been in a few photo shoots and ads, but my foot got injured and I'm just stepping out again. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully.
Well, you look adorable tonight. Let's do a photo shoot with Alejandro.
My heart flipped. When? I tried to contain my excitement. Alejandro Sucks wanted me to do a photo shoot with him.
Now, all we need is a great photographer.
I have just the person, I said as I watched as Ernesto placed his phone back into his jacket and began to walk towards us. As soon as Ernesto was within arm's reach, I grabbed his arm. "Ernesto, Alejandro here wants us to do a photo shoot and I'd like you to take the pictures."
I'd love to. When are you going to do it?
Ernesto looked at Alejandro. "Right now," I smiled. Ernesto's eyes twinkled and I nodded excitedly.
Let me just grab my camera from the car and I'll be right back.
Ernesto jogged out of the room and returned a few minutes later with his camera slung around his neck.
Shall we?
He looked at Alejandro and me. For the next 20 minutes, all eyes in the room were on the three of us. Alejandro and Ernesto set up the shots and I followed their direction. After the last shot was taken, a resounding round of applause arose from the crowd. The three of us acknowledged them before Alejandro pulled Ernesto and me to the side of the room.
Have the pictures sent to me by tomorrow.
Alejandro pushed a large wad of cash into Ernesto's hand. Then he looked over at me and handed me his card.
Give me a call.
As soon as I woke up the next day, I called Alejandro. I told him to meet me at his studio within the hour and hung up. I called work and I told them that I had an emergency before I quickly got dressed and called a taxi. I arrived at Alejandro's in 15 minutes. As I walked towards the receptionist's desk to ask to speak with Alejandro, he walked out and greeted me.
I thought you weren't going to make it. Shall we get started?
I nodded and Alejandro led me to his studio. He showed me where the changing room was and it had dozens of outfits. Immediately, I changed into something chic and stepped out of the dressing room like a runway model. Together with Alejandro's stylist, makeup artist, and the rest of the crew, the photo shoot was indeed the experience of a lifetime. After the photo shoot, Alejandro told me not to change from the outfit I wore.
Come to lunch with Alejandro. He'd love to have you accompany him.
I'd love to. I held onto Alejandro's arm and we walked out of the studio and stepped into the receptionist area. I spotted Ernesto in the waiting area. I smiled and nodded as we passed. I did feel a bit bad, but I wasn't about to miss an opportunity to be seen in public with Alejandro Sucks. As we sat at the restaurant surrounded by famous people, I couldn't help but notice Mo Unique as she glared at our table. Based on what I read in tabloids, Alejandro and Mo Unique dated for a few months and they broke up a few days ago. I couldn't help but laugh a little louder and be a bit more flirtatious with Alejandro, knowing that I had an audience. That night, I returned home around 11 p.m. When I checked my phone, I had 5 missed calls from Ernesto. I'll call him tomorrow, I mumbled as I snuggled into my bed. This was one night I didn't mind staying up since real life was now better than any dream I've ever had. The next day, I had another busy day with Alejandro and didn't return Ernesto's calls. As the weeks passed, Alejandro and I were spending more time together and I was loving it. The constant buzz from the tabloids, the assumptions that I was Alejandro's girlfriend, and, of course, the photo shoots, were more than I could have asked for. One night, as Alejandro and I sat on another grand event, I saw Ernesto as he took pictures of the various models that collected their awards.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this year's Model of the Year award goes to Monique Schempfler.
The audience applauded as Monique walked onto the stage and collected her reward. She leaned into the microphone and said,
I'd like to thank you all for this reward. It really means a lot to me. To show my appreciation, I'd like to share a few photos that we might all find interesting.
I looked on in horror as pictures of my face flashed across